You're listening to the Wayward Atheist Podcast. Hello, everyone. If this is your first time listening, thank you for joining us. This is a podcast where borders collide, where the gloves are off, where filters are removed, where we tell you exactly what we think about the news, politics, and religion. The Wayward Atheist Podcast is dedicated to free thought, reason, and the pursuit of truth. You can follow us on Twitter at Wayward Atheist, on Spreaker, Stitcher, and iTunes. You can email us at waywardatheistpodcast@gmail.com or leave us a comment on our Facebook page. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the Wayward Atheist Podcast. I'm Dave, aka the Great White North.
I'm Big Black Gay Dave.
And I'm Ed, the Everyday Atheist.
I'm Dustin Dark.
Well, fellas, back at it again. Ready to laugh? Ready to fucking roll?
Uh-huh.
Dave, how was your fucking week?
It was awesome.
What'd you get up to?
Working, gym, music as usual, and learning Japanese. I'm trying to teach myself some Japanese.
Oh, Domi Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Not exactly that, but just like the writing.
Oh, I hate you. I hate you, Dave.
You should.
Yeah, the syllabary and stuff like that. So
Right on. So what words do you know?
Oh gosh, I mean, I know to say. I want to say my name is David. I think
Okay, let me hear.
David do des.
But you got to say it like a man though. You said it like a woman.
Actually, what David do des?
Because I noticed that the men are like, and the women speak very femininely. And fucking, so this is, you won't know who this is, but Rampage Jackson, he's an MMA fighter. He used to fight in Japan and he was in love with the Japanese women. So he learned how to speak Japanese from the women. And so he would speak Japanese like a Japanese woman would. And the fucking men would laugh at him. Big tough guy talking like femininely.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's very gendered and very like hierarchical.
Yep.
So yeah, I imagine there's a way for men to speak and a way for women to speak. So it's yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I'm just at the basics, just the writing characters and stuff like that, and basic grammar.
Okay, and the ongoing project, where are you at?
Not too much, like the same status.
Same status, yeah.
Yeah, everything's done. It's just getting
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Tedious.
Tedious.
Yeah, okay. It's some tedious sort of phase. It's like if you're like if you guys any of you done like graphic work, you know, once you have the graphics done, you're like nudging things around and making sure the shadows are right and the characters are, you know, that's basically what I'm doing right now, nudging things around and making sure things look perfect. So when the printing happens, that there's no collisions and no overlaps and everything looks good. So it's a very tedious stage.
Sounds very much like renovating a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The final touches. And Edward.
My week was pretty decent. Me and Corey from the Brainstorm podcast, we kind of have a little debate. And I hope everybody has tuned into that and had a listen. I thought it went great. I thought we had a great conversation. We discussed some a very important topic that's been hitting the campuses around, and the idea of no platforming is very pertinent in today's discourse. We need to have the opportunity to discuss ideas, and I think that debate went really well because it was cordial and things. There was no ad hominems. We got down to the brass tack. But Dustin, how did you think it went?
No, I think it went really well, and I would say the same thing that Corey was very personable. These are the type of discussions and debates that I really think can lead people to have better understandings of each other's ideas rather than just further digging in heels. If I could nitpick a little bit, I asked a question on the end there, and I brought in homeopathy because it was also discussed on the Facebook discussion that spawned the episodes. What I was attempting to do was to bring it out of specifically no platforming and bring it to a real life brick and mortar situation so that I could better grasp how he would treat bad ideas. Right. Because it seemed to me that he was making an argument that was very similar to the why it's okay to not sell gays cake argument. You know, well, they can just go to the cake place down the street and have a cake, and the market solves this problem. And I found that argument odd, so I wanted to see what he would say in another situation. And of course, he directed it back to the subject, which is his job. He did a good job. But I'm just really curious because I just don't care that there's a few incredulous people out there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, one of the things that we need to do, I think, is have a further discussion after, and let us digest what we've talked about in the debate and see what our listeners think. David, did you pick up anything during the debate that you thought that was very important that we needed to discuss?
My critique was mainly based on the approaches, in terms of just like being neutral and putting myself in the mind of an audience and seeing whose arguments would convince me one way or the other. I think you did a really good job of illustrating and creating analogies to articulate your points. And I think they're very convincing. Overall, the argument that type of setting was great for a discussion because it wasn't tense. It was very cordial. And I think you guys did a great job of asking each other questions and probing and finding out what each other believes. And you did a good job digging in. Both of you guys did a good job of sort of digging in and finding out.
Yeah, if I had one criticism, even I'll use my arguments, for instance, I think the banter back and forth or the question and answer period, I think having to think really quickly off my feet and not having a solid written down answer kind of threw me off a bit because I had to think of the answer there on my feet. I think that threw me for a loop a couple of times, and I think my answers weren't as clear and concise as they should have been. Maybe people might see it wrong differently, but I think Corey was really good at just focusing exactly on what his point of view was, and he didn't get angry if I challenged his ideas. He would think about it, process it, and then try to counter it the best way he could. And I thought that was what we need to have more discourse like that. I think that's one of the things that is missing today is that openness to be challenged and to accept the challenge and not take it as I'm attacking you as a person.
Yeah, I think overall you guys both agreed on a large amount of things. It was sort of when you drill down and look at the nuance of certain cases. That's where the difference happened. That's very important to look at a broad situation, very important situation with nuance, and then argue your points specific to that. And it would be great to hear what our audience thinks about or thought about that, those individual points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just like to take one more time, thanks to Corey and to the Brainstorm podcast. You guys go and check them out. You can find them on Spreaker and all the platforms. And I'm sure they would love to hear from me as well. So go check them out.
Alrighty, the Yank, Dustin.
Don't call me that, man.
I don't care about this Dixie line fucking bullshit.
Don't
north of the border. That's it.
North. You mean south of the border?
Yeah, south of the border. Sorry.
It's too early to be drunk, Dave. Come on.
Tired, not.
Yeah. Okay. I've been mostly doing nothing, kind of laying around and watching cartoons on my off days. It's been nice. What I would take the moment to. Dan Carlin from Hardcore History just put a really good podcast, both the Hardcore History and the Common Sense ones. I would say, that was really nice. I enjoyed it today. I would recommend anyone listening to check those out. He's one hell of a podcaster.
And very critical of one Donald J. Trump in the political.
And critical in the right ways too. Mm-hmm. It's none of this. Oh, he has orange skin and he's not the most articulate man ever. He's always very fair and balanced. I know that's a phrase that's just been run through the mud, but he's very level-headed in his discussion and he made some really good points.
I think he hit the things that I was saying last week about the fascist and authoritarian qualities, like. Maybe he's not Hitler, but, the wall, the media, the way that he's treating people, it seems very fascist-like. Now, of course, he did it in a much more educated and articulate way than I did, but he hit those points and they're solid. Like, I don't think there's much room to wiggle away from the case that Dan Carlin presented on his podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's airtight. He did a great job. He really did.
100%. But I do have one thing to bring up with you. Okay. Do you
Okay.
recognize this name, Chris Dark?
Oh yeah, that's my brother.
So Chris Dark sent me an email today. Do you want to know what the email says?
Go ahead.
John Adams signed the Treaty of Tripoli. The government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. It was unanimously ratified by the U.S. Senate in 1797. So
Right.
he's correcting your ass.
He's correcting my ass. I mean, I knew about the treaty. And like I said, I was just playing devil's advocate at that moment, saying that it's actually not as enshrined as a lot of people think. If you're pulling a treaty that we had with, funny enough, Muslims when they were fucking with us, from 1791, that's not the strongest grounds to be basing everything off of. Don't get me wrong, it's correct. The point that I was making on the last show is that it is not as enshrined as people think, and it would be very easy to attack and take away, and we should be taking the threats to the separation of church and state very seriously. That's the point I was making. So
Sure. And then my reply was, thanks, man. I will take a jab at Dustin for his brother having to correct him and give you a shout out. So this is a shout out to Chris. And then he replied, hang on, there's a compliment in there. And he replied, yeah, man, it's rare that I get to correct him. He is usually a step ahead.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh.
Yeah, so shout out to Dustin's brother. And now a Patreon.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, well, the site is Patreon. And it's
okay.
See, it's this whole throwback to like the Renaissance and
Really?
Well, if you're gonna be pedantic, if you're gonna call an addition a correction, then I'm gonna fucking be pedantic back, you cunt.
It's like sedition and sedation.
Everybody give Chris a fucking round of applause.
Appreciate it, bro. I'll tell you what, man. Next time you're in Tuscaloosa, maybe you should come on the show and make some jokes with us. So we'll see how it goes.
Sure.
Definitely.
Open invitation to the Dark family. The family that is dark.
Chris, there's an open. Yeah, don't talk about people you don't know, man. Chris, you have an open invitation.
Dustin, I will literally talk to anybody.
All right, man.
I don't care. Okay, and for me, so again, back to my son, because I think like the way that things are going right now, I think I'm going to be able to come with something new every fucking week for you guys. So today, as it were, it was a school holiday, so he was at home and I was watching him, and I had a book that had colors and shapes in it, and there was a bunch of colored shapes. And I was trying to get him to tell me what the colors were, which he can do very easily now. To my surprise, when I pointed and I asked him what color this is, he said diamond. And I was like, holy shit, because I've never heard him name a shape before. I didn't even know he could do it. And then so I went on to a rectangle and I said, what color is this? And it was a purple rectangle. And he said, rectangle. And then square, circle, triangle. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's fucking awesome, right? Like,
holy shit. I mean,
I didn't even know he could do it.
Yeah, but this is really taken off, though, in the last couple of weeks. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it really has. I was at Walmart, I want to say maybe Wednesday night, Tuesday night, somewhere around there. And the greeter, when I came in, was clearly autistic. And I was having a conversation with him. And he was about 17. But, he had a job and was functioning pretty well. And I was talking to him, and apparently he didn't start talking until he was 10. So that actually gave me a lot of, I don't want to say hope, but it gave me a bit more confidence than I've had as of late with the progress that he's been making, and then having a conversation with this young man.
Wow, that's
funny
incredible.
Funny enough, he asked me about Donald Trump. He asked me if I thought something like that could happen in Canada. I said no.
I'm just thinking that for so long he hasn't said anything, and I mean I'm on the outside looking in too.
Yeah.
I feel like a sense of like wow and wonder. I can't imagine what you and your wife are going through, Dave. I mean, this sense of this is finally picking up steam here. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And it's like he is now bringing me books, and he'll bring me a book and he'll say book. So it's like he's asking for me to read to him, and there's a book that he loves called Pete the Cat, and he says Pete the Cat instead of just like bringing it, or like he didn't even used to bring you books. He would have no interaction with you whatsoever. You could yell his name as loud as you wanted and it would not register that you were talking to him. So to go from that to this is mind blowing.
Incredible.
Yeah. Okay, enough of that, and we'll get into the show.
education of the children is paramount. The Christian education of a children is paramount to a culture. It's essential to passing our values to the next generation. Why can't we get godly people, Christians and pastors, to understand the importance of putting money not into plasma TVs and praise and worship, but into the education of children? What's wrong with us? Why can't we see this? This need to be able to do this. Why can't we? I don't know. But what's going on is the raping, the spiritual raping of children. So, whoa, Coach, that's pretty harsh words. What is it? See, when we think of rape, we think of sex. You know, rape doesn't always have to do with sex, that he raped her. Have you ever heard of somebody coming in and say, well, that guy came in and he just raped that company? Or he came in and, man, he raped the foundation right out from under those people. They didn't even know it. We're having spiritual rape take place right in front of us. And the churches don't even recognize it and aren't doing anything to alter it. This is big, man. This is big. Better for you to put a millstone around your neck, I say, than to allow your children to be taught that homosexuality is normal and that two men can get married and two women can get married. To expose that to a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10. I don't know if there's anything much more wicked. That's rape. That is spiritual rape.
This guy's holy fucking shit. Okay, so as I said last week, my fucking psychic prediction has come right. This Dave Daubenmire cunt is fucking back. So I didn't really give too much information on him last time. So let's, before we get into this nonsense that he just spewed. So Dave Daubenmire is from Past Assault Ministries. That's right, folks. Past Assault. He likes to wear a baseball cap with a cross on it and calls himself Coach. Dave Daubenmire, a veteran high school coach, football coach, was spurred to action when attacked and eventually sued by the ACLU, and that is what made him become a hate preacher. He was sued.
Was that the guy that was like praying on the football field and
no, this was in the late 90s.
Oh, okay.
But it was for praying, for mixing prayer with his coaching. It was for mixing prayer with his coaching, but it was in the late 90s. After a 2-year battle for his First Amendment rights and the determination not to back down, the ACLU relented and offered Coach an out-of-court settlement. He calls himself Coach. You're a fucking high school coach. But let's talk about this. In order for there to be rape, there has to be sex. It doesn't even fucking make sense what the fuck he's saying. And I want to know how the fucking school is raping them. And go ahead.
Oh, well, I also found that kind of ironic. And here's the thing: I went to nothing but Christian schools, which is what he's talking about. And the first thing that after I graduated, me and my buddy from school and my brother, we used to drive around and go to movies and shit. And we would use the expression that they mind raped us, because they gave us not true facts. Right. And that is kind of penetration of who you are. I mean, and that's a joke that we'd use. I just thought it was ironic that he went there because it's kind of the opposite way. And if you notice that his thing with education, and it was the same thing at my fucking school, that the purpose of school is to teach children values. No. The purpose of school is to teach your children how to think and to teach them facts, goddammit, what happened. Like the history and the reality of things, not your version and your twist, your alternative reality of what's going on. And holy fuck, I really hate cocksuckers like this. And you guys did a good episode, a few months ago about, Christian schools and Christian education, and you did it pretty good. And fuck this guy for encouraging this, and fuck David Dubois or whatever her fucking name is, the new education.
The
the Trump appointee Secretary of Education because she wants a voucher so that more people can go to fucking Christian schools where they don't have the same education standards. Like,
she also wants Bible back in the public school, right?
No one's going to be going to the fucking public schools.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If you give everyone vouchers and they can just go to fucking Christian schools, you can just pull your kids out and send them to shitty fucking church where they babysit them. You don't have to worry about shit. And that's what literally my school was. So, fuck this guy, and everything he's saying. And his coach fucking stealing from Cheers, Fasona and everything. Fuck that guy, man.
But, one of the things that really, really does make my head hurt when I hear him talking about raping children spiritually, or spiritually raping, or whatever the fuck. It makes no sense because their parents can teach them this stuff. Their churches can teach them this stuff. Prayer wasn't taken out of schools. It just can't be led or officiated by schools. So, they can pray all day long. They can read the Bible from the time they get there till the time they go home. What is he fucking talking about?
Well, I think it's a guise to preach his hate, because if you heard in there, she had two goals in there, I think. One was to attack public school, and two was to attack homosexuals. Because for some reason he brought homosexuals into it.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand.
I saw it as advertising, pushing people to put their kids into Christian schools.
Okay.
And he's using the whole homosexual as a fear mongering. You don't want your kids to go to school when they're 5 and 6 and they tell them, that boys put their dirty parts together. You want to send them to a nice Christian school where they're going to teach them good Christian values. And and like I said, very conveniently leaves out the truth or facts of the matter, which I can, to a certain extent, sympathize with. I don't think it's school's part to teach morals or like political positions, which they see it as that. I know we see it as different. I can sympathize with that to a certain extent, but ultimately, I think he just wants to see more kids in Christian schools because you brainwash them better, man.
Yeah, and that also the fear mongering with kids and their educations, the learning about all other types of relationships was a big part of the whole Prop 8 stuff that was happening in California, right? You saw these advertisements saying, "Oh, be against this position because your kids will be taught this and all that." And I also think that it's a pretty big. I think public education in the United States is really under attack, and I think people have to be really conscious and wary about what's going to happen with the public education. Make sure that it's strong and that there's standards, and you teach your young generation to have the jobs of the next economy and the next generation, and really make sure that they can compete with the rest of the world. Because
so something almost scary happened with this fucker as I'm reading here. So coach is using his knowledge of education, don't make me laugh, you stupid fuck, and educational issues to equip Christians to defend the Judeo-Christian worldview. A popular high-energy speaker, Coach Daubenmire's motivational lectures laced with scripture are challenging Americans all across the country. In 2010, Coach made an unsuccessful bid for election into Congress in the 18th district in Ohio. You guys fucking lucked out by people that live in the 18th district, because you do not want this ass fucking having his hands on any fucking laws.
So he wants to basically have full control, whether it's on the football field, in the classroom, or he also wants to have governmental control.
He also wants you to pass assault.
Ugh.
Oh.
Fuck me, Dave. God.
See, Dave, you're not religious enough to even get what he's going for there, are you? Like you never knew.
Matthew 5:1-2.
You look down there. Is that what he has on his website? Yeah, you cocksucker. You read it. If I had to guess what Matthew, I don't know that well, but I'm gonna guess he's going for the salt of the earth.
It says our vision is to unite, organize, and mobilize the army of God to be salt and light, as stated in Matthew 5.
Okay, so Matthew.
Is that the Book of Mormon?
No.
Weren't you a fucking Mormon?
Yeah.
Oh.
We read the Bible too, you fuck.
Does it burn in your hands?
It kind of feels kind of gross.
Does the real book burn in your hands, Ed? That's what I want to know.
No.
What was it written in Texas, boy?
So you're talking about Matthew chapter 5, right?
It says 5:12.
Well, 5:12. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For who persecuted they, the prophets, which were before you? Oh, Christ. So where's
the salt?
No, what he's saying is, I don't know where to salt to. He's basically saying that you're persecuted like the prophets of old. So rejoice, your rewards will be greater in heaven than everybody else's because you're being under attack, basically.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with salt and light and passing the salt?
Read on through 5. You're going to get to ye are the salt of the earth.
Yeah, I know.
It's coming. Oh, well,
it is coming. I guarantee you it's coming. Yeah, it's 13.
You're reading? Okay.
Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden underfoot.
Okay, so let's let's take a look at what Dave Daubenmire says about passing the salt. Coach heard the call to move out of coaching a high school team to the job of coaching God's team. Fuck you.
Fuck.
Kill me now.
Pass the Salt was formed to encourage the body of Christ to step into the cultural war. For we wrestle not against flesh and bone. Sorry, that was wrong. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Pass the Salt is convinced that God has given the body a window of opportunity to take our culture back.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. He's
a good preacher. He sprinkles like just tiny phrases out of the Bible in everything that he says.
Yeah. And just so everybody's aware, there's all kinds of gold in here of him preaching and bashing trans people that I will be digging through. This guy is going to become a fucking staple.
Oh, good. I like that.
Because he's a cunt.
I take his message personal, so I like that.
Yeah, let's keep on this cocksucker. He's an idiot.
Just so we're all clear, I on purpose didn't pick any of the topics this week. I wanted to be blind going in, so I haven't listened to any of this, but I'm sure it's either kill the gays or the gays are Nazis, because that's his shtick.
We are wrestling with judicial supremacy, and I would say that's the worst evil that we are confronting right now. You know, for instance, you look at the Supreme Court and what it did, and see the whole purpose, this ties into the other major problem we have, which is homosexual supremacy. Homosexual supremacy is the doctrine that homosexual rights trump every other right in the world. They trump every right that heterosexuals have. They trump every right that citizens have not to be pushed around by the activists in the LGBT agenda. You know, Meryl Streep is out there saying she's going to stand up to the Brownshirts in our culture, referring to Donald Trump. The real Brownshirts are in the homosexual movement. In fact, the Brownshirts under Hitler literally were homosexuals. The Brownshirts, almost all of them, you couldn't become an officer in the original Brownshirts, Hitler's Brownshirts, without being an active homosexual. And, you know, Tammy Bruce refers to the homosexual activists as the gay Gestapo because they have the same kind of tactics, same kind of worldview, same kind of mentality to just run over anybody that gets in their way and to punish them. And they're able to do it with the help of the courts. That's how we got homosexuality decriminalized by an activist court, how we got gay marriage, activist court. Time for that to stop.
Citation, please, you motherfucker, because fucking Hitler sent fucking gays with the Jews to the fucking ovens, you lying motherfucking sack of shit.
And what is this fucking preoccupation with gay people? Are they just so shit. Are they just so in the closet that these motherfuckers just are so pent up that they need to have an outlet and they're so self-loathing that they need to take it out on people that express themselves, express their true nature openly and honestly in society? Is that what they have to do? It just seems bizarre to me.
Listen, he looks at men, his dick gets hard, and it's probably black men too. He looks at black men, his dick gets hard, and he hates his boner. That's what this is all about. He hates the fact that he loves men because nobody could honestly hate a group of people this much that literally has no effect on them unless they actually have an effect on them. And the only way that they can have an effect on him is if he secretly thinks dicks are delicious. Which I'm sure he does.
And okay, first of all, if the Nazi army were brown shirt, okay, they're brown shirt. No gay person I've ever met in my life would go around wearing a brown fucking shirt. It's just tacky as fuck. Come on. Anybody worth their salt wouldn't wear a brown fucking shirt, man.
Fuck you, man.
Sorry.
Well, it certainly would have made the Third Reich fabulous.
Oh, come on.
See, I always thought that homosexual supremacy was just like a good power dom bear, just like a big strong man to really get you good. So, and I feel like that's what he's obsessing over. He really wants to be, dominated by a large gay man. And so I agree with you, Dave.
He wants to get fucking gorilla fucked. He wants to get held down and just fucking nailed.
His greatest fantasy is just like a group of men kicking in the door and just be like, we're here for the straight guys and just slinging dick, man. That's what he's daydreaming about and preaching. Like, I kind of want it for him too, deep down in a weird way. I hope he gets it.
Oh, fuck me.
David, what do you have to say about this crazy fuck?
I don't know. I find it's weird. I've heard of this whole Nazis as gay, like Nazis as.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. I've heard that before. I don't know where that comes from, but I've seen it around. And again, like what you guys said, someone who just thinks about the gay so much, talks about it. And I don't listen to his show, so I don't know if these are just clips, and it's it just so happens that he talks about it every time on all these like right wing watch clips. But it's so unusual. Like I'm a gay guy, and I don't talk about being gay. It's crazy.
It certainly is. And to say you couldn't be an officer in the German army unless you were fucking gay, like, okay, they didn't like gay people, they didn't like disabled people, they didn't like gypsies, fucking anybody that they deemed as for lack of better terms as an abnormality to their supreme race, they wanted to get rid of. So this nonsense of the gays being the Nazis, that's just a way. So he's doing that in a way to bolster his argument of gays suppressing the rights for his listeners. I know that he doesn't believe this because I think I shouldn't say I know. I hypothesize that he knows that that's not reality, because I think he's doing this because he hates himself for being gay, because God hates the gays. Everybody knows that. So, he should just come to grips, and literal grip, with the fact that he loves dick and use his mouth for something better than spewing hate, giving somebody love, a nice, lovely blowjob.
Dude, I'm doing just a brief, superficial wiki research, and like when you look at pink swastika, when I look up like gay Nazi, an article, one of the top articles is the pink swastika, and Bryan Fisher name is like he has a major section on this. Like this is
he did talks on it, David. Yeah, that was like his fucking thing.
Oh my god. Well, I want to throw the guy one bone. And that's
he would take it. He would fucking take it.
I'm glad you caught that. The homosexual big lobby in the United States does use Gestapo tactics. Let's be honest. They come into these poor neighborhoods and they give out bread during the day, and then they come in and they bust all the shop windows out for the heterosexual shop owners. Like this is happening all across America. We've seen it in the news, and you guys just don't understand what's going on here. You're up there shoveling your snow and you don't understand. You don't understand what's going on here, guys.
The oppression.
Can I just throw
the gay Reich?
Can I just throw in some?
They're goose stepping. They're goose stepping in their high heels down the street.
There is not a heterosexual business owner left, guys. They just kept destroying their property and taking their customers and beating them up. It's terrible.
It's not the swastika, it's swish-stika.
Go ahead, Ed.
I'm going to throw in some real facts. Actually, if you go through any Nazi information, true Nazi information, like go back and read some of the articles and some, like I read Mein Kampf, for instance, and a lot of World War II Nazi propaganda. One of the things they did have, especially, the armbands they had with the Star of David for the Jews, they had one similar for homosexuals. You'd have to wear it at all times. So for him to say that there's this pink swastika or whatever, he's full of shit. But they did have a symbol specifically for homosexuals that they had to wear, and they were put to the gas chambers just as prevalent. Well,
Their mark was not for themselves, though. It was for, and this isn't exactly Brian Fisher, but it's like all these Brian Fisher-esque-ish type of people that are like, they call the left communists and then they're like the gays. If you look at communist regimes as well, they weren't for homosexuality either. So either A, they don't know history at all, or B, they do and they're just fucking lying.
Well, they're revisionists, right? They want to make it so that the only people in the world that are without quote unquote sin are Christians. Christians were oppressed. Christians are, there was no Christians involved in the Holocaust or in the Third Reich. There was no Christians involved in any of the bloody wars that has ever happened. But if you look at anything that Hitler ever wrote, especially in Mein Kampf, he talks about how it was the work of, he was doing the work of God. He didn't like Christianity as much as, say, Mussolini, but what he did was he took parts of Christianity and mixed it with pagan blood myth and to make it a more German type of religion. He on the belt buckle of every fucking Nazi was "Gott mit uns." So his revisionist history is what he's trying to do is to absolve Christianity of the guilt that it needs to bear for what happened in World War II. And
that's actually a really good point. Yeah, fuck Brian Fisher.
No, he's
almost as bad. He's almost as bad as Scott Lively. But Scott Lively, like, actually got people for real hurt.
Yeah, but you know that we're going to hear in the news soon that he was found passed out in some dirty car with a prostitute, male prostitute. You know that he's going to be like
meth. It's the next Jimmy Swagger. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
snorting lines off of big dicks.
I'll tell you what, guys. Do you think it's going to be like just a dick, or do you think it's going to be tits and a dick? Let's get, like, what do you think his real face is?
I'm thinking it's straight up big
just straight
black
dick,
cock.
Just
straight up big black cock. He's into the BBC.
Oh man. Well, who can blame him? Let's be honest. We're all mesmerized.
Big deep voice motherfucker like this too. Boss him around, tell him what to do. Yes, sir.
That's what I said. He wanted a. Yeah.
He's gonna put his Hitler fucking suit on and have a big dom boss him around.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's gonna get truncheoned.
Oh no.
He's gonna put himself up on the cross backwards.
Oh shit. Oh no.
And he's gonna have a train run on him.
Oh no.
And instead of blood dripping down, it'll be cum dripping down.
Oh, okay.
I would like everyone to look up his picture right now while we're doing this. Pause, look up his picture, and then re-listen to the last 2 minutes. All right, because we looked at his picture. I want you to know that that's where we are.
Did I go a little too far?
Oh no, whatever, man. I don't.
You know what? I didn't go too far. You want to know why? Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
I'll talk about his ass getting raped all fucking day.
So can he?
Okay, so literally, listen to this, Dustin. Not in this clip, but literally, this person believes that gays should be put to death.
Yeah, he's one of those pricks.
Gays, I should say, like gay people should be put to death. That he literally thinks a law should be enacted that gay people should be put to death. Or I should rephrase that. He has said that gay people should be put to death. And this should be the law of the United States of America. So if I want to joke around talking about him getting crucified
did I personally, I put it in this bang for later.
Since I fucking murdered this segment and shut everybody up, and you should have saw David's face. This is not as bad as the time I talked about coming on Mother Teresa's face and it taking a half an hour to run off because of all the wrinkles.
Oh, thank you for that.
This is not as bad as that.
That is for round 2 tonight. Thank you.
All right. We'll fucking see you guys in the next fucking segment. Now Pastor Manny's going to tell us all about Donald Trump.
I've been hearing people say, that orange-haired orangutan, Tribulation Trump. We ain't never seen nothing like this before. By the way, I agree with Bill Maher. Now, I thought I'd never agree with him on anything. That Tribulation Trump is sexing Ivanka. You know what Bill Maher said? Y'all know the comedian guy? Y'all know? He said, and he is sexing that girl too. Elizabeth showed me a picture of Tribulation Trump and Ivanka, she's like 12 years old. God, that boy is nasty. That's a nasty cracker, that Tribulation Trump. He called Hillary nasty. He's a nasty one. Anyway, we ain't never seen nothing like this before. And that's what we have reached the milestone of all the things we've seen. There's been nothing like what we're now seeing here in America with Tribulation Trump. Any Christian who can say that they are supporting Tribulation Trump, knowing he's an unrepentant sexual assaulter of women, they likes to grab them by the coochie. And he's never repented for that. He lies and you can show him that he lied, and he'll lie about the lie. He denies the word of God, says that he don't need God in so many ways. I don't know how any Christian, I don't know how any father, how any woman can say she supports a man who is as vile and vulgar and nasty as Tribulation Trump. He is a vulgar cracker. I say it that way because I want attention. You know that, right? The very fact that he is that vile and that vulgar. And I taught the other day that Japheth women put on T-shirts rather than condemning him and walking away. They said, grab mine. But I think it'd be a cold day in hell for Bebe or Anisha or whosoever to put on a T-shirt and stand in public with their daughters in their hand saying, grab my coochie. I don't know any Hamite women that low. But I don't think of all the women I've dealt with and the things I've seen from prison to Wall Street to find a Hamite woman that's much of a slut as these slutty women that say they support Trump. And why? Because he's going to bring us jobs and people on the Supreme Court that's going to overturn Roe versus Wade. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard. Listen, if Roe versus Wade was to be overturned, Ronald Reagan had the power to do it. These conservative Republicans don't want to overturn Roe versus Wade. Who are they going to get to abort their children? You know they got all kind of illegitimate children everywhere. Who are they want Roe versus Wade? It's just a battering ram for them. If somebody happened to overturn Roe versus Wade, you will see more conservative illegitimate babies than you will see liberal ones or black ones for that matter, Hamite ones. I don't want to overturn Roe versus Wade. The biggest lie I told in politics. And everybody knows it.
I'm actually a little bit confused on what's fucking going on here, because this is the man that said that he was going to have his parishioners hunt people down in their homes, cut their throats, and then piss on the graves. So, I mean, like, I think like he was supporting Trump, and then Trump didn't accept his support or something like that, and that's why he fucking turned on Trump.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I thought he was a Trump supporter.
He was.
Yeah.
But he declared that he wasn't anymore. But this man talked about beating lesbians, and he's going to get up on this fucking clip and condemn fucking Donald Trump. Not that Donald doesn't need condemning, but man, fucking glass houses, motherfucker.
He's unrepentant. He grabs women by the coochie. Oh, man.
Jesus Christ, he's nuts.
Did you hear the last segment, though? Like, where he says that they're not going to get rid of Roe versus Wade because of how many babies that will be illegitimate by the Republicans?
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, though.
No.
It's interesting how you can have like a Republican baby versus like a liberal baby, as if it's like in their DNA, and they just come out with their political beliefs. You know,
a fine Christian baby, David.
Yeah,
a fine Christian baby.
You didn't know that only Republicans bleed red in the United States?
And also, like, the one thing that I found also kind of stark about that and, like, kind of set out my mind is, man, he spent a lot of time fucking bashing fucking Hillary Trump. And now to say that, and bolstering Donald Trump, and now to say that Hillary was the good one and Donald was the bad one makes no fucking, like, this guy... He's rich.
I love the Christians and atheists can come together and fucking hate Trump. I mean, he agreed with Bill Maher. I'm pretty sure hell froze over. Everyone's getting a break, and like that's what stuck out to me. That comedian Bill Maher, I agree with. What the fuck just happened? It was.
Do you understand what he agreed with him about? Is that Donald Trump was having sex with Ivanka when she was 12?
Of course he was. Like that's 100% factual. So this is
Although
Easy. Allegedly. Donald Trump is very litigious. There's in no way. The Wayward Atheist podcast does not endorse or condone the opinions and lies of Dustin Samuel Dark of Alabama.
I wish that was my middle name.
The opinions may be expressed upon this show are not necessarily.
You know what? I'm going to say this. President Trump, if you would like to sue me for that, like I want to get that letter in the mail. You know, the President of the United States listened to your pleb ass on the internet make jokes about him fucking his daughter, and he's going to sue you now. Let's do it. Do not frame that bitch. You can't get blood from a turnip. Let's go. Let's go.
In the world of Alex Jones,
fucking your daughter.
It's black SUVs, helicopters, the data. It's in his brain.
Yeah, dude. Look, if Alex Jones is getting away with it, I feel okay.
Jones is sucking Trump's dick.
Allegedly.
So I'll make one more comment about Pastor Manning, and we've been listening to his clips over and over for the last year or so. Let's just say he has a weird demonic voice. Like he talks like this, and he goes. Rah, rah, rah. You can imagine like his eyes like rolling back, and, like talk. Rah. Like,
have you never watched him, David? Have you ever watched his videos?
It's disturbing. No, I've seen his videos, of course. Okay. But then he does this weird like low thing with his voice, like he's momentarily like some other.
He goes from high pitched to guttural.
Yeah, like that's freaky. That is some serious freaky shit.
He was scared.
I would like to hear him do some like scat work. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to do. He'd kill it.
He wants to be a scat man.
Oh yeah. And I hope everyone at home is taking that every way they can.
And when you first said I want to see him do some scat work, I was like,
I know what you want too. I'm such a psychological test for David. Like everything I say. Oh.
But here's the key. Paul Watson links to the Foreign Affairs particular article I'm talking about. There's another one. The Kremlin is starting to worry about Trump. I'm going to read these articles in entirety on air today. In fact, I almost get distracted by my guest. I have great guests that come on, but I may just clean the slate of guests today because I need to read all this because this is from the mouth of Lucifer. They say there at Foreign Affairs, which again is only for globalists. You know, they put it out, only the establishment reads it because they think you're too dumb to go read it. And they're like, oh, we're battling the war on truth. Get your truth here. But now they realize the lies don't work. And so I see this in history only when they're about to execute really horrible devastation. Starting huge wars, you name it, setting a nuke off in D.C., anything. You know, talking about time to kill Trump. I mean, Obama has gotten a bunker. This is in the news. 2 miles from the White House and is recruiting with Soros an army for a Bolshevik-style revolution. But what's crazy is you read, and I woke up at 3:30 in the morning last night, and this never used to happen. I used to sleep like a dead pharaoh, folks. I mean, I sleep like a rock. I woke up, I've never, here's what's happening right now. You can see it intellectually. You can also feel it. There was a coup over America under globalism by stealth. There was a counter coup with Trump. They're launching a counter coup right now, and there's incredible things going on right now. This is an amazing time to be alive. And I feel sorry for people that don't have the historical gravitas or understanding, even know what they're dealing with or what they're facing or what they're looking at. But when they come out in these articles and they say everything I've said, but from their perspective, it's frightening. Few things frighten me, but to have this much confirmation of my analysis of the enemy operation, which came from my analysis,
And to realize Trump's synced up, not because he's even listening to me, but because he gets it. He's smart. He knew this before I was born. I know the inside baseball. This is a long fight. And I look at all the sad, dumbed down people that have been made slaves of this, and they don't know how hard good people are fighting to try to give them freedom. It's just painful. It's almost too much to actually handle. And to see these snakes go, okay, we're not going to lie anymore. Trump wants America and the world to be free. Trump wants America to take over the whole global system that we stole and that America built. And he wants this big, super powerful system. And he wants to actually empower humanity, and we're not going to let him. And the Russians don't want that either because they want their own power. And like they're devilishly talking to the devil, and the Russians going, Trump's going to break all of it. He's going to bring it all down. Join us against Trump. This is some sick stuff, man. This is sick. This is sick. This is the devil talking.
First of all, at one point in the video, he said he's not afraid. He says he's afraid every fucking time I hear him. He's constantly afraid.
He reminded me of Jordan Peterson for a second. I woke up in the middle of the night. I usually don't do that.
Yeah. No,
oh my God. That is such a cliche for these crazy, I don't even want to name a spectrum here. Crazy people. Like, just because you wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up in the middle of the night with a bad feeling all the fucking time. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
That's just indigestion.
Yeah, stop eating pizza before you go to bed, Alex. And $65,000 worth of hot dogs.
So, okay, so if you didn't listen to last week's show, you wouldn't know that Scott Lively. So Alex is just riding off of Scott Lively with this Obama Bolshevik fucking revolution, right? Because the other guy talked about it because Alex brought up George Soros in this, saying that Barack Obama and George Soros are plotting this Bolshevik revolution, and the other fellas last week were saying the exact same thing. So who was first? Because obviously his data, he's getting it from the Christian.
Yeah.
When did fucking Alex Jones become such a fucking Christian? That's what I want to know. Like, he wasn't always this fucking, like, it's the devil, it's demons, Trump is fucking God of warrior. You know, he wasn't always like that. When did this shit start happening?
When it started to pick up steam, I think. Like,
I don't know. I think he explained it on last week's episode. When you really get the data, just like Trump did, you might not have been religious. But when you start rolling up all the pedophiles, man, you find God and you find out that it's all real, and because you can't help it, because you can only beat pedophiles with prayer, you know, and that's what you do. This all makes sense. You're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to what he's saying here.
And lastly, and I know I'm not being overly funny with this because it's just so fucking stupid. If Obama was going to plot something and he wanted to take over the U.S. government, don't you think he would have done it when he was the goddamn fucking president? Not when he was on vacation in the fucking tropics, fucking windsurfing, skydiving, you stupid motherfuckers. Like, come on, Obama's gone. Go after somebody else. The black man's out. The witchcraft is gone. There's no more demonic fucking possession of the fucking White House. Leave the guy alone. He did his time. He looks like fucking 80. He went in 40.
Yeah, but you know, Dave, the third dimension opened up and swallowed the world.
Oh, don't give me that shit.
And
Dude,
Trump knew this before you were born.
TV producer listening to that pitch that Alex Jones just made, I'd be like, yawn, next. Like, if he was smoking something last week, because last week's stuff was, I think,
much better.
Yeah, it was great. It was like, wow. Like,
no, I agree with you. I was disappointed at his delivery in this week's segment. You know, last time he was fired. He did a really poor job at shotgunning ignorance like he did last time, you know. And he was drunk and he was really hyped up, you know. What's the lifetime chance of being on Joe Rogan Experience this week, guys? So he said that I think 5 times, you know. He at one point he's telling Eddie Bravo, hit me right here. Hit me, God, you know, and Joe's like, oh, we gotta stop this here. So, you know, yeah, he's not all.
He was asking Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan to hit him.
He was asking Eddie Bravo specifically to hit him.
Okay, but still,
then Joe
Eddie
Rogan
Bravo
goes to shut it down. You know,
Yeah,
like, all
because-
right, that's the end of the show. And then he's like, no, we're just having a good time here. You know, me and Eddie Bravo, we'll stop. This is
outside of professional fighters, probably the last 2 people you want to have hit you.
Oh, fucking right, man. I would never get an aggressive stance. I would sit like a woman if I met Joe Rogan. I'd put on a dress and everything. I don't want shit. I don't want none.
Eddie Bravo too. You know, they talk about his jiu-jitsu, but for sure he's been training striking for a very long time. I don't care what he's been training.
If someone has been training, I don't want to start any shit.
At what point in his kind of diatribe just now, there was nothing that actually explains how or why or what Obama's up to with this plotting the Bolshevik revolution, right? Because he always says, I have the data. It's me. It's up to me. I carry the weight. It's what I do. I don't sleep. Didn't he on the Rogan podcast say he didn't sleep, and now tonight he said he slept like a fucking log?
Like a dead pharaoh?
I don't know.
Like a dead pharaoh. He said today he slept like a dead pharaoh, and on the Rogan podcast he could barely sleep because of all the data. The data.
But you're missing where he is having good continuation. We did learn that it is all Egypt, so it makes sense that he slept like a dead pharaoh. You're just not catching all the brilliance in the background there, Dave. Pay attention. Come on.
You're right. I'm not. I'm one of the stupid people walking around that he feels sorry for.
Yeah, but
that's right.
Also got to know that Trump knew all of this shit before he was born.
Before he was born, yeah. Well, you know what though? Trump was like fucking 28 when and a Democrat. 28 and a Democrat. Because let's remember, Donald Trump only became a Republican when he realized the only way he could ever run for presidency was if he became a Republican. He donated to the Democrats. He hung out with Democrats and voted Democrat.
Hillary was at his wedding.
Was at his wedding, exactly. He contributed to the Clinton campaign.
Yep.
How come Alex Jones doesn't bring that up?
Because that's not part of the narrative.
Donald Trump is his hero all of a sudden. Man, he's really turned about on the Trump. It's on the Trump train.
Yeah.
Tribulation Trump.
That crazy nasty cracker.
Cracker. I wonder what a conversation between Alex Jones and fucking Pastor Manny would look like.
The whole world's ganged up against America, and here's the big news for everybody. Bloomberg, CNBC, the IMF, the World Bank, the Private Federal Reserve, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan are all trying to plunge the economy right now to repudiate nationalism. Just like they voted 6 months ago in the UK to just say, hey, we're not under EU control. We're allowed to have our own sovereignty. And the media was like, oh, God, this is so horrible. How dare you not be under our control when you never voted for it? They're trying to put England under a collapse as well. So this is economic terrorism. So they're pushing this as hard as they can. It's going to hurt you, folks. Trump is a damn champion for the people. And he's just surrounded by Republican wolves. And I don't know if the American people actually deserve this. They may just deserve David Brock and poverty and enslavement. And I mean, big report today on Infowars.com by John Rappaport. He's on tomorrow, where he's got all the documents, a 12-page article where they admittedly know that the college degrees are 90% worthless. 9 out of 10 are worthless. So they want to create mental illness so you're so mentally ill when you come out of college, because they know how to artificially put you in groupthink and peer pressure and make you mentally ill. You're already primed in high school and primary school, so that you're so mentally ill and triggered and screwed up, and 25% are now on drugs in college, prescription drugs, psychotropic, that you're so mentally ill you never know why you have a worthless degree and why you have no future. So they weaponize and brain damage the people as they give them worthless degrees.
Weaponized mental illness. That's exactly what it is.
It's weaponized mental illness. And then you wonder why these people are just total gibbering idiots beating up women and stuff. This is scientific warfare. This is 21st century, folks. You want to see how America was taken down and Europe? I mean, this is it, folks. This is the Third World War. It's a psychological warfare grid using Islamic jihadists and leftists and just feminists saying they want women to have acid dumped on their faces and their genitals cut off, screaming Allah Akbar. I mean, you cannot make up the anti-Western orgy we're seeing.
Okay, Alex, that's a little aggressive. Women saying Allah Akbar, that goes from that to having acid thrown in there. Although I don't really think they should be out in the streets screaming Allah Akbar unless they're Muslim and that's what they want to do. That's a little aggressive to fucking jump to fucking having acid thrown in their face, wanting acid in their face and their clits cut off. Jesus Christ, there's a whole bunch of shit for me to go through real fast in that. So first of all, JP Morgan and all that shit, they don't want to crash the economy, you stupid fuck. They make their money off of a robust economy. So that out of the way.
How about fuck you, Alex Jones, for telling people that take depression medication, or the kids take depression or their spouse or whatever, that is a psychological warfare that just makes them into fucking zombies. You piece of fucking shit. Like, how about let people do what their doctor has told them they might want to fucking do, or make their own decisions. You peddle your fucking water purifiers and your male vitality and leave the fucking depressed people alone.
And then, but you also got to think though that he's talking about how economically that the world is trying to bring these elites are trying to bring the world to its knees. He doesn't explain to what end. Why would they do such a thing? Yeah, if it's just to enslave humanity, they're already in a position to enslave humanity through economic means.
Like, if I were workshopping this at a Broadway workshop, I'd be like, take this back to the drawing board, Alex, or come up with something better. Because
so mental illness does not work in the way that Alex Jones tries to say it does. Somebody cannot teach you to be mentally ill. It's a chemical imbalance in your receptors, neurons. Not that I'm a fucking neurosurgeon at all, or a neuroscientist, I should say, at all, but I have the layman understanding of what mental illness is, and it's not a taught
hence the
condition.
Word illness is there.
Illness, exactly. And the world isn't out to get the United States. The world may shit on the United States because they police them, but the world isn't out to get the United States. Not everybody's out to get Britain either. Give me a fucking break. Fucking asshole. And then also, Donald Trump is a champion, and you're right. The United States does not deserve fucking Donald Trump. They deserve fucking better, you cunt.
Yeah, and all these degrees are useless. There's some degrees that are not as, they're not immediately able to be put into a job, right off the top, but they're not worthless. I mean, going to university, you get, you should be opening yourself up to great new ideas and exploring how to think. That's the most important thing that you need to gain from university is not what to think, but how to think and how to process information.
Does he have any degrees?
Yeah, assholery.
Yeah, because they're all worthless and school's worthless. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Alex Jones, fuck you. How about that?
New drinking game for the guys at home. If you hear Alex Jones say the word documents, have a shot. You earned it.
Documents or data?
Documents or data, either one. Yeah, let's do that.
Because it's really funny that he's changed it from documents to data because he's trying to make it sound legit, but at the same time he tries to discredit science, but then he uses science terminology because he knows that's data's how shit is understood.
Right, and he's scientific warfare, as if
science. That was another thing I forgot to get to.
Science is not out to fucking create weapons of mass destruction against you, you fucknut.
I'm really trying to understand how people how he makes his money.
People believe him. That's why. Because he talks in a voice like this, and he's real fucking paranoid. And there's helicopters outside, and he's the only one that can bring you the truth because he's Alex Jones. And there's fucking gay Gestapo outside. That's why.
Listen, when I was in California, there was a guy that used to go into the grocery store, and he'd have literally tinfoil hat on and a remote control, a TV remote control, and he used to scan all the products before he buy them. Because those were the safe ones. And he'd always say, Alex Jones told me X, Y, and Z. I'm thinking, who the fuck is Alex Jones? Now I know who he is. And I said, oh, for fuck's sakes, if you believe this shit, you believe anything. So get your remotes and tinfoil hats on, people, and start scanning your produce.
Well, you know where that comes from, right?
No.
Ed?
No.
So there's this conspiracy theory with not just Alex Jones, but this conspiracy theory has been around for a long, long time. And it's going to be the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is that you're going to have a barcode tattooed or put inside your body, and there's going to be no more money. How your currency is going to run and how everybody's going to know you is this mark of the beast, and they're going to run their little fucking detector over you, and it's going to tell you how much you have in your bank, what your status is or whatever, and that's how you're going to buy products, and that's how Beelzebub's going to fucking keep track of you.
So, but that's
and when you mark yourself with that barcode, you've taken yourself away from God and you've pledged allegiance to the devil.
Yeah, but I can understand the name your price tool from like fucking Geico or whatever the fuck it is, but a remote control, like something that turns on your TV, how does that scan shit?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Dustin.
Well, I just wanted to point out, Dave, you're correct. That is a very old conspiracy theory. It's in the Bible. The whole mark of the beast, like that's, of course, the whole barcode is a modern interpretation of it, but that is straight out of Revelations.
Yes, but I meant like my interpretation of what I just said.
The modern one,
that's been around. That's been around for a while. The mark of the beast, obviously in the Bible, but the barcode itself and stating that your money and your currencies and your passport and everything else is going to be inside this mark. And once you tattoo yourself, you're going to be subject to the devil. That's been around since the late 80s, early 90s.
I'm going to say that's in the original Left Behind series books, is that's the way the mark of the beast works. And I was also taught that in my school, that's the way the mark of the beast is going to work. Like that's things that my teachers told me. So,
that's
yeah.
fun.
I also had a teacher, while we're on crazy things my teachers told me, I had a teacher tell me, we have this giant statue of Vulcan in Birmingham, and she said as long as it stayed there, Birmingham would never prosper. She got real happy when they took it down to maintain it, and real mad when they put it back up. Yeah, because it's an idol. You know, it was funny. For a long time, there was just legs and an ass in the center of Birmingham, just mooning everybody while they fixed the top half. Nice. It was a good time to be a teenager. Good time. I don't know if that should make it to the show. I just wanted to share it, guys. That's where it took me.
I got my tinfoil hat on.
This was the Wayward Atheist Podcast. Visit our new website at waywardatheists.com. Follow us on Spreaker, spreaker.com/waywardatheists. You can email us at waywardatheistpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at waywardatheists and on facebook.com/waywardatheists. If you enjoy our content, feel free to leave us a review on iTunes, and feel free to support us at patreon.com/waywardatheists.